One of the recipients of the awards was Saroj Narayanaswami, whose distinct voice and presentation style became almost a signature at All India Radio. And we are honored to have the legend in our studios this morning. Good morning, ma'am. Thanks for coming and joining us.
It's very nice meeting you all.
Yes. Tell us about how it all began for you.
Well, it all began with my career in All India Radio. I must say hats off to All India Radio, but for which I would not have even been speaking to you right now. We used to go for as a translator newsreader. I was selected somewhere in 1962. And initially we used to collect English bulletins, and they still do so, translate it into Tamil, then we edit it, and sometimes it comes in Hindi, and we go across the entire translated one. The newsreader rushes to the studio and reads it in those days I used to read for 15 minutes at a stretch. In other words, we used to have 2 breaks. This is All India Radio giving you the news. That's in English. In Tamil we used to say, "Ningal kettukondirupadu Akashavaniyin Seidi Arikai."
Wow, I'm sure that's the voice that a lot of Chennaites love hearing.
Yeah, and I feel, privileged, and it's a great honor that the Tamil Nadu government and the ELC Nadagamandam, they conferred this kalaimamani award on me. And my only regret is my husband is not with me to share this occasion, but I'm sure he must be just now listening to me above. But it is a real honor to Tamil News Bulletin, which has been given such a good recognition. And I have just stepped into my 75th year. So this is a platinum jubilee year for my birthday gift, I should say, Kalaimamani Award conferred by the no less than the great scholar in Tamil, Dr. Kalainar Karunanidhi.
Now, some say that imitation is the best way of complimenting. Your voice and the way of presenting has been adapted by a lot of newsreaders in the Tamil newsreading industry.
I feel flattered. I have seen that lots of people are imitating. Some of them even collect up over the area and all, they are trying to imitate.
Okay.
Some performances start with my news reading. And, well, it's a big compliment, I should say. And I even read somewhere that some channel, almost people are asking me, "Are you reading that bulletin? Are you reading that bulletin?" Well, I said, I have read only in All India Radio and as a visual medium, only to NDTV when I was in Delhi. That was the content provider for Star Vijay. I was there for about 4.5 years with Prona Roy, Radhika Roy, very good friend of mine, a perfect couple. And that was perhaps my golden period of my career, I would say. We had a wonderful time, and for the first time I entered a visual media after my retirement. By now you could have guessed my age, and I already committed it perhaps. So at this 75th year, I really feel honored to get this award from them. Because in All India Radio, it used to be a tough thing. We used to race against time, and we used to get it as early as 2:30 in the morning. The driver will pick us up at 3:30. Then we'll be dropped in All India Radio with just 1 cup of tea. We used to start during all the news bulletin. We'll get the items inside the studio, start translating, and we'll choose the headlines what is to go. And we used to even joke in those days, on 26th of January, we used to get these names for Padma Shri. And I always used to tell my colleagues, better go through it, my name may be there. But that was an occasion when Kalaimamani Award was given. I was literally thrilled. I said, this is no joke. I pinched myself, no, I am getting it. And especially that translation news reading, we literally used to rush to the studio. And after the Telugu bulletin, the Tamil will go. And while reading, people used to, our colleagues used to come and give us that flash news. And looking at it, I'll translate it. And that was live. There was no recording. And in those days, there was no television. They were totally depending on Saroj Narayanaswami and our colleagues for news bulletins then and there. Especially when Bangladesh war was going on. Lots and lots of mothers whose sons were fighting in Mukti Bahini there, Bangladesh war, they used to wonder, we used to say, well, they are crossways, this is this. day when we successfully, when we won the war, that was a jubilant occasion for most of the mothers in Tamil Nadu. I used to get lots of mails from them. I used to feel moved how much they are listening, how much they are hearing. But that is why when they say, when they are imitating, possibly either I am putting in my, I don't emote or anything, but sometimes I get emote in the sense, when Mrs. Indira Gandhi passed away, I am a great fan of Indira Gandhi. Very great fan of Indira Gandhi. So the morning when I read she was alive, Wednesday, that was Wednesday, that I was in the early morning shift, something about 7:15. But in the afternoon she passed away at 11 o'clock. So I was asked to do a hobby also. And night, that was the major bulletin when you have the peak listening. But that way Tamil News Bulletin is peak listening all over Tamil Nadu at that time. And at that time, for the first time, I used that word, Annai Indira, Mother Indira. Even though we were not, supposed to go or deviate, we have some code of conduct, certain names. We used to have Rashtrapati as Rashtrapati, Pratama Mantri as Prime Minister. So, and all these sobriquets, we cannot just add like that.
Ma'am, how was the transition from the radio to the television media?
No, television can afford to be a little more original in the sense. See, suppose I am giving a translation of Prime Minister's speech, say in Geneva or United Nations Conference. I must stick on, perfectly I must stick to what he says. You can't afford to be, a bit flamboyant in your translation. What he says, you should say. And you can't make your own comments. In television, when you make a story, I was doing it in NDTV, you can afford to be a little more original. And you can put a gist of it and do it. And another thing is you have to keep a track of what is your being, visually what you are narrating and what is visually shown and what you are telling. So that narration is important.
Right. Now, for the kind of work that you've been doing, obviously, it means odd timings and going in whenever the work demands of you. Was there pressure from family at all?
That was a big challenge to me. At the time, my son was growing. My husband used to, but the only advantage in this job is, when all the human beings are sleeping, I was working in the studio. And when all others are sleeping, working, I was sleeping.
Okay.
In other words, when I go at 3:30, normally human beings go to sleep. My husband used to sleep, children used to sleep. And I had to look after my child also at that time. My son now, of course, is grown up. My daughter is also grown up. Then when I come back, it will be around 8 o'clock in the morning when I don't meet my children. They are either in the school.
Yes.
So evening when I go for another bulletin, I leave around 5 o'clock or 4:30. So when I come back, it is around 8 o'clock. There, by the time they have finished their homework and go to sleep or whatever it is, by 9:30 after watching the television. So that was quite a challenging thing. In between, we had 4 bulletins. One for Southeast Asia, that is for Singapore, Malaysia, Australia, and wherever Tamil is spoken. Then one fourth of 3 home bulletins. One 7:15. The other one is, at that time it used to be at 2 p.m. Then later on it was moved. After that 15 minutes thing was shrunk to only 10 minutes like BBC at 12:40. And again, even in the evening, third bulletin will be 7:15 again, 19:15 hours.
Now, you've read like 14 annual budgets. What was that experience like? Tell us.
So that is an experience which we'll all cherish in the sense, I was the head of the Tamil News Unit.
Okay.
And we were about 14 languages there, 14, more than that, 18. In fact, Sanskrit was introduced then, essentially for people in Rajasthan who understand Sanskrit very well. They used to call us well about, the bulletin is, budget bulletin goes only when the parliament is in session at 6 o'clock, unless they make the change. That used to be, and it used to be always on last day of February. So they will say budget bulletin, you are put on duty. So we go there with a pass. We are such a VIP on that day. You can't imagine. We used to have security. They used to push us into a room. All the unit in charges will be given sandwiches, coffee, tea, whatever it is. Even when you want to go to toilet or to answer a nature's call, the security will be standing out, all because they